Hey, ladies, I'm going to go ahead and get us started right away because I think we want to make sure we are done this call on time because I hope everybody is hopping on to our 8 p.m. call with Sarah Best for turning off the tap, which is tonight, which we are super excited about. So before we get going, I want to introduce myself and introduce Jen, who is going to be talking to you tonight. So hi, I'm Erica Hadskis. I am one of the coaches with the Sisterhood, and I am excited to be talking on this mentorship call tonight. I'm going to be talking with my good friend and fellow coach, Jen Milks. So we're going to do this since this is our last sort of wrap up call for August, for the August mentorship. We really want to target the call to what your needs are. So please drop any questions you have in the chat, anything you're struggling with. Jen and I will do a bit of talking here, share some advice and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll end the call by targeting those specific questions. So please don't be shy. This is your chance. This is a safe space. So please, anything that's sort of on your heart, anything you're wondering about and struggling with, please drop it here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is consistency on social. I know for probably so many of us, that's one of the most scary parts of this business is showing up on social media and sort of looking at your social media from a different lens. I know when I first started, all my social media was pictures of my child. Like it may as well have just been a Nev Hall of Fame. Right. So it was sort of scary to then flip it to, okay, I need to share more parts of my life. I need to share these workouts that are working for me, this journey I'm on, and to do it consistently. And that's exactly what you need to be doing, but showing every facet of your life to show those people that are following along with you that yes, you are working out, and yes, you found an amazing way to find balance in your life, but you're still busy at work. You're still sludging to Costco like the rest of us. You're still doing all the things. You're spending your summer camping, whatever it may be for you, is to try to be consistent on social with all parts of your life and show that, you know, these workouts and these programs are one facet of it. And that's what's going to plant the seeds for success, is the people who are watching you on social media today may not be the ones joining you today, but those people who are watching you today and watching you tomorrow and watching you next week and watching you next month and seeing, wow, these programs must actually work because she's pretty consistent. She's still showing up. She's still doing these things. And those seeds you've been slowly planting over time are going to grow, and your followers are going to want to join you then, the more consistent they've seen you. As well, don't forget this business is about you and your journey. Try to get really deep into your why. What brought you here? What little, flutter in your heart, something in the back of your mind thought like coaching could be for you. That's what your journey is about. It is so easy to get lost in other people's journeys and trying to look at some of the top coaches and seeing what they're doing and mimic that. And it's funny, Jen started coaching about 6 months before me. And I don't even know if you know this, Jen, but we taught at the same school for a little bit. And I remember saying to you one day at recess, I don't know, I said something about watching someone's story, and Jen's like, I don't even watch other coaches' stories anymore, because she's like, I just want it to be about myself. And so there is a fine line. I totally get it. If you're stalking our stories, Courtney, Aaron, whoever your upline is, whoever your coach is, it's so natural because you want to see what we're doing and what's out there and how we're showing up, and obviously to garner some ideas. And to this day, I'm not saying I don't watch other coaches' stories, but I truly don't spend my time focusing on what they're doing. I focus on what I'm doing and my journey and what this is doing for me and the people I want to join me and the people I want to inspire. So really focus on you and your journey. Think about what brought you to Beachbody. Were you drowning in mom life? Were you drowning in exhaustion from work every day and coming home and just wanting to crash on the couch? Was it you went through a health scare and you had a wake-up call that maybe you needed this? Just really think about your journey and your why and what brought you here today, and try to share that as authentically as you can. As well, continue to be excited. We highly recommend, as a coach now, you try new programs, new challenges, new things that come out with Beachbody. So, maybe you're going to order the vanilla chai and you're going to try that. You're doing Lift More now, or if you're not doing Lift More, maybe you're trying some programs on body and you're sharing with your clients and people watching you on social, that kind of stuff. this job is amazing. Let's be honest. It's incredible that we get to work out and be our healthiest selves and inspire other people to do the same. So be excited about it. Continue to share your why and continue to show up and be excited for why you're here, and make new challenges what you want for you. I know Court right now is leading a step challenge. This is her. I mean, Courtney's been coaching for 4.5 years. She's trying something new. She's doing a step challenge and it's going absolutely amazing for her. For me, I ran the community I run is called Team Impact. We did a Team Impact 5K at Ottawa race weekend. That was super exciting. And it was amazing for my community, right? So obviously make it about Beachbody, but also just do exciting challenges that mean something to you. And now the hard truth is time to show up, even if discouraged. This business isn't grown overnight. Exactly what I said a few minutes ago about planting those seeds. We call it the coach coaster. You're going to find that this ride of being a Beachbody coach, some days you're going to be really, really high on the coach coaster because you inspired one person and they want to sign up and you've impacted a life. And it's amazing. You're riding that high. And then the next thing you know, you're discouraged because you've invited some people in your life, you've seen people following you on social, and you just keep getting ghosted, or you keep getting no's. And it's so hard to not be discouraged, but just keep showing up anyways. The seeds you are planting now are the fruit that you are growing later. It is so, so important to just consistently be yourself and to consistently show up. And even on the hard days, that is one of the amazing things about being a coach, is there's no one more accountable than a coach. So on that hard day, when all you want to do is lie on your couch with a bag of chips, maybe there'll be time for that, but there'll also be time to show up and do your workout, because that's your job now. So even when you're discouraged in whatever the business facet of it or your own personal journey, whatever it is, consistency wins every single time. And it's time to show up. And last thing I'm going to talk about before we turn it over to Jen, and then we will do some Q&A and stuff, is to really sit down and think about your why and decide what you want from this. It's now been a month ago. I'm assuming most of you were on our What is Coaching July call, probably. We're hosting another What is Coaching call tomorrow night. Was when you kind of, got curious about this. And here we are a month later, and you're ready to finish up your mentorship and decide what you want from this. And don't sabotage that. Think about what brought you here, and something brought you to this call, to this community, to these group of leaders that's called you here. So think about what that is, and keep going to get what you want from this in the end. It might just be accountability. You might just be in it for accountability. Well, don't cut yourself short then. Keep being accountable. Don't sabotage. You might be in here to pay for your products, right? A lot of people do it just to pay for their shakes, and we're what we call a hobby coach. Well, then you can do that. If you're consistent, you can 100% do that. Some of you might be on here because you're really looking to grow a business out of this. And 100% each and every one of you can do that too. It's all about deciding what you want from it and putting in the effort to get there, and not sabotaging along the way. It's such an easy business to, like I said, on the coach coaster, be riding the high when times are good, but when times are low, it's so easy to want to sabotage and walk away and not stay consistent. But that's not why you're here. There's a why that brought you here. So think really hard about what that is and keep going till you get there, and don't sabotage along the way. As well, if you are having those self-doubts, please reach out to your upline, post in Coach Corner, in Sisterhood Coaches. The incredible thing about this community is that we are all in this together. That's what I love so much about the sisterhood, is we all run our own client communities, but my gosh, there is power in the sisterhood, right? Like, that's truly what we are, is a group of women that are here to lean on each other and empower each other, and know that we're here for you through the highs and the lows. And I'm going to pass it over to Jen next.
Thank you so much, Erica. I love that. And I'm going to piggyback off that last point, because something that I often say to my team, by the way, I'm Jen. Nice to meet all of you. If I haven't met you yet, I am one of Courtney Swissman's first coaches, along with Erin. And so when we talk about OG sisterhood, like right here. And I'm in this for the long run. I can tell you that too. But just to piggyback off Erica's point there, something that I often say to my coaches is don't turtle. Because, and if you can like, or if you can picture like that Homer Simpson gif of him like sliding into the bushes, you know what I'm talking about? It's so easy to do. Like you get some rejections, you get maybe a nasty comment from some Karen in your life. No offense to Karens, but you know what I mean? Something like kind of bursts your bubble, and instantly you're like, all of the thoughts are coming in your head, and you're like, oh God, like Erica was talking about the coaster, right? Like, oh God, I can't do this. Oh God, this is too hard. Oh, I can't do this. Reels are too scary. Oh my gosh. And so you just like you mute the chat, and then you just kind of like slink away and hope that no one will notice. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like Erica said, lean in, because I can guarantee you, I've been here almost over 3 years. I can guarantee you there's probably not something that you will come across that either Courtney or Erin or Erica or I have never encountered. So lean in and ask and share where you're at, because we pick each other up all of the time and it's necessary. That's why we're in this together. I want to share with you about the potential for this business. I know, like Erica was saying, like totally your goals and what you want to get out of this business, but I want to give you permission to dream. I really do. And this doesn't have to mean quitting your job. Actually, there was an incredible national wake-up call. If you don't yet listen to the national wake-up call, there was an incredible one just on Monday that was from a full-time dentist who's also a 3-time elite coach. She's incredibly successful with her coaching business and her dentistry practice and doesn't plan on quitting it. But she hasn't let the fact that she doesn't want to leave her job, she hasn't let that minimize her goals with regards to coaching. So I just kind of want to say that off the bat, but the potential for this business is massive. And like Erica said, whether it's your own personal accountability, whether it's being able to help 5 people, whether it's you being able to pay for your kids' gymnastics, whether it's you being able to pay to take your kids to Disney, or maybe you do want to quit your job. Maybe you want to buy a house in Florida. Like, allow yourself to truly think of where this can go, because there is no cap on your potential here. And I think almost the daunting side of this, but also the most incredible side of this, is that you are up to you 100%. There is no stopping what you can do here. And I want to encourage you and empower you to take that and freaking run. Let yourself dream big. Let yourself set some scary goals. Share those goals with your coach. Tell them, like, I'm lucky because Courtney and I have been best friends for over 20 years. So I can say to her, okay, shoot me straight. This is the goal that I want to achieve. Hold me accountable to it. And she'll hold me accountable to it. But I encourage you to do the same with your upline, even if you've just met them last month. Lean into them. They want to see you succeed as badly. They want to see you succeed more than they want to succeed themselves. There's nothing more satisfying than that. So lean in, see where you can possibly go with this, and then run with it. There's something that I often tell my coaches about, like the slow death crawl to diamond, which is one of our rank advancements. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the importance of Emerald, which is your first rank advancement. If you haven't yet hit that, make sure, not tomorrow, next week. Did I say tomorrow? I meant next week. Next Wednesday at 7 p.m., and I'll share more at the end, is our Importance of Emerald call, which is your first rank in the business. But I really encourage you to, if you have dreams and goals in this, don't go slow with it, right? Like, have that sense of urgency and that excitement, because it's going to really, really help you build and keep that joy and excitement for you. I really, really, really want to encourage you, like we said at the end of Erica talking there about leaning in. lean in. So get on the calls, listen to the national wake up call, get into the coach page, go live in the sisterhood coach page. If you had like an awesome lesson that you learned, if something resonated with you, maybe you read a really great PD book that you thought would help people. Maybe you ran like a really fun challenge with a few friends and it was really successful. Share that. There's nothing that needs to qualify you to share with the rest of us. There are coaches that have been here a lot less of time than I have that can teach me so much about some of the things. So especially if you're a creative person, allow yourself to run with that creativity. And I think the coolest thing about this is that there are no rules, you guys. There are no rules. We will teach you best practices. We will teach you things that we have learned that works. But at the end of the day, there are no rules. So get excited about that. Or that might be daunting to you, but for me, it's exciting. But allow yourself to really think outside the box. Think about, what do your people need? Like Erica shared about Courtney's Steps Challenge. Courtney literally just thought to herself, like, oh, a lot of people right now feeling in the slump, like maybe we could do this. She literally just made it up. She was like, let's just do this chat. Everyone put $10 in the pot. At the end of the 2 weeks, whoever has the most steps wins the pot. Like, she just made that up. There's no Beachbody rule about that. There are people that have done couples challenges where they where they encourage, if they know that they've got a close-knit group of couples, where they do a couples challenge. And like the couple who logs the most workouts, or the couple who shares like their sweaty selfies or whatever, literally the options are endless here. So I want to encourage you to get excited about that. Start thinking about some different ideas. Start thinking about, what would you want? What would be fun and encouraging for you? Because if you are enjoying it, then your people are going to enjoy it too. So think about what you enjoy, and then run with that for sure. And with that, moving into my last point, it's time for you to start planning a group. Start thinking about what you want to do. Start choosing, maybe choose one of your favorite programs, choose a new program. Maybe you've like never done 21 Day Fix. I remember I made it somehow like a year into coaching without ever doing 21 Day Fix. Are you the same, Marianne? Yeah. You could take yourself off mute.
I just recently did it this summer, but it was a real challenge. It's awesome.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, and so it's like, literally you can go into BOD and search up some different programs. Like maybe you want to try Bar Blend and maybe you're scared to do it. So you decide that you're going to start Bar Blend and you message your like 4 best girlfriends, or you message your sisters and your cousins and your aunts. And you're like, listen, ladies, you're doing this with me. Let's go. We're going to do a ladies bar class, and we're just going to like laugh our way through it. Or maybe you want to try Let's Get Up, because Shanti is the greatest human of life. And that program literally made me laugh my butt off every single day for a really long time, because I'm not coordinated. I have 2 left feet. But choose something that's fun for you. Decide that you want to start a group. It's like I said, no rules. It can be a chat pod. It can be a text thread. It can be a BOD group. It can be a Facebook group. It can be an Instagram chat. Like, you hold the power here to decide how you want to do it. So reach out to your coach too, even if you want that level of accountability. Tell them what date you want to start. Like, look at the calendar, plan it out, give yourself that time, give yourself time to maybe give yourself like a week or 2 to maybe invite to it, or if you want to do some kind of a prep or something with it. And ask your coach too, if maybe there's another new coach that would like to pair up. I think it's really powerful when coaches get together. Like Erica, for example, runs her incredible community with Chantel, and they were like paired up as coaches. So if your coach hasn't paired you together yet, maybe with someone, you can even reach out and say, or share in our August mentorship chat, hey guys, does anyone want to run like a bar group with me? Or does anyone want to do a 21-day challenge with me? And you don't have to be partners for life, but it could be a fun way to get it started if you want. So That's kind of all I've got for that, but I'm a little worried about how few questions are in the chat.
I know. I was just going to add something, Jen, maybe while you guys brainstorm your questions, to bounce off Jen's points of, like you guys ready to fly on your own. I know for me, when I first started, I was so hesitant to leave this sisterhood. So back then I'm an OG like Jen. I mean, she's OG, but I was like, I think 8 months after you, maybe. Aaron and Courtney had their group together for clients, and I joined as a client in the sisterhood. You guys obviously all joined with your own coaches, community, whatever community you might be from, Every Effort, Team Impact, Rise. I know Marianne, I know, is Amplified Body and Mind, whatever. And then I know when I started, inviting people to join, I just plugged them all into the sisterhood, and there's no harm in that. If that's where your starting point is, absolutely. But I do recommend taking some ownership for your own clients too. Sorry, can you hear my husband singing or something upstairs? Sorry if you heard that loud noise in the background. I even just something as simple as a chat pod. And I was going to say, I have a Lift More chat pod going right now. And honestly, don't take it to be a daunting task that you're the coach and you need to know all the answers, because you don't. Just be your authentic self, go on the journey together with your challengers, and celebrate and commiserate. I'm just looking back on my chat pod today. I was because I'm on a week 5 of Lift More. And I got super excited today, and I wrote the girls, I'm like, I thought this was an 8-week program. It's only 6. I'm done this torture next week. And then I'm like, oh, never mind. Week 7 and 8 aren't released yet. Here I am, the coach, right? Celebrating that we can call this program done early, which I do actually love it. It's just really hard. And everyone's just laughing and was like, you should know better, Erica. Just be you, because the people that want to join you want to join you. And there's no secret sauce. There's no nothing. It's just be your authentic self. And like Jen said, what's coolest part about this business is you can make it anything you want, and you can run it however you want. So don't fear if you don't have this big community to start. It can start with the text message thread between you and the one other person you have joining you, or the 3 other people you have joining you. It can be a WhatsApp chat. It can be a messenger chat. It can be a tiny Facebook group. It could be a blog group, whatever it is. But don't fear to do that flying, because we've been there ourselves. And I know it seems daunting initially to start your own group and do all these things, but you can definitely breadcrumb it to get there.
Okay, so I was just going to say, Erica, so we had a couple ladies comment, because I had asked about who had posted yet.
Yeah.
A couple ladies shared about posting in their stories, and Tanya has actually tried Reels, which is great. Starting to kind of dive into them. Do you guys have any, maybe more specifically, social media? Is social media something that is scaring you or seeming intimidating, or even take yourself off mute, hit us up with a question?
So I've been posting some stories. I'm not fully familiar with making reels either. I think I've done one, but I might have done it even by mistake. I don't even know. And post or whatnot. But I'm one of those people like all of you, and it's interesting. The first What is Coaching meeting that I went on was that whole fear of the social media, right? And what are people saying? What are people thinking? That whole thing is huge. And it's so comforting to know that it's huge for everybody. That's a big comfort for me. But what I'm just sharing and noticing, but it's interesting. A lot of my followers, you can see some of them specifically not commenting or liking any of my workout stuff, but other stuff that I post, they are. So then immediately I'm like, oh, anyway, I get it because of the stories you guys have shared, and that whole, I don't know, it is something that jars you though. You're like, oh, they're obviously, so then I'm like, well, who do I invite? Who do I invite to my, who else do I invite to my community without seeming like, I don't know, salesy or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, just a noticing from the stories and posts that I've shared so far. I'm okay with it. I'm still going to keep posting and sharing and all of that. It's a good thing for me to overcome that, because I care way too much about what other people think, and that's it. It's a good thing for me to learn. It's a lesson. So it's good for me. Definitely out of my comfort zone, but yeah, just a noticing. Yeah.
Totally. Thank you for sharing that, Marianne. I was going to say, I think what you can do too is like, especially in your story views, like if you see the same people watching, you can even throw them a message like, hey, like, I love seeing your name in my viewers. I know you've been catching my stuff recently. You know, have you ever thought about maybe wanting to do this with me? Or I'm starting a new program. I would love to start it. Because the thing is that I think what we often forget, an analogy that I remember from early on in coaching that was taught to me is that imagine if you saw a Facebook post from a friend that was like, barbecue at my house Friday at 6 p.m. with like the address. Like, would you go? Probably not, right? Because you're like, oh, it's just, oh, Marianne, you would. But yeah, most of us. But then if that same friend reached out and sent you a private text message and said, hey, Marianne, I'm having a barbecue at my house Friday at 6 p.m. Would you like to come? Big diff, right? Big difference. So don't hesitate to still kind of share and say and invite in your stories, but that's not enough. That's not going to be enough, right? And that individual reach out and message and connection is important. And it often takes 7 contacts or something, or 7 times before a person will say yes. Hell, Courtney's my best friend. I didn't even agree to work out with her at first. It took her like 4 times inviting me. And I'm like her best friend, right? So don't take it personally. Remember that it's about them, not you, that they're not ready. And I'm sure, like, raise your hand if you did not start these programs the second that you were invited, the very first time you're invited. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of consensus, right? And a lot of people be like, oh, thanks. It's great what you're doing, but no, not for me. Thanks. And that's when you're like, okay, not a problem. Like, I'm doing another group next month. Can I add you to my list to reach out back then? I can just kind of, that's my 2 cents, Eric. I don't know if you have anything to share.
No, I think everything you said, Jen,
Thank you.
is bang on. But what I was going to say, Marianne, the thing I loved most about that share is that you said, but like, you know, I care what people think, and that's an area of growth for me. Honestly, the personal development of this business has been my biggest change, hands down. I've had physical changes. Sure. I've lost 40 pounds. I'm healthier than ever before, but my gosh, the amount of growth it forces you to do as a person. And I was the exact same. I cared so much about what people thought, so much. And I dove deep into personal development so that admittedly, I haven't been on the other calls, guys. So I apologize. I don't know if PD has been a big part of these coaching calls, because I've had a very busy summer and I haven't been home. But if it hasn't been, that's one of the vital behaviors of Beachbody anyways, is doing some personal development. And yeah, honestly, there's so much work to be done about overcoming that hurdle of, and then once, and that's a common hurdle Marianne and I have. I'm not saying that's a hurdle for everybody here, but that was my hugest hurdle, is putting myself out there. And same thing, having someone watch. And then I'm a teacher, for those that don't know, and I would see a coworker watch, and I'd go into work and I'd see them in real life, and I was all like awkward about, I'm like, oh, they know what I'm doing, but they're pretending like they're like, it was just so weird. And now the self-doubt is gone, and I just know I have an important message to share. And I know I've impacted my own life, and why I'm here is to impact other people's. And it is a huge growing opportunity. And I love that you said that, Marianne, that you said, I'm going to keep showing up anyways. And, you know, you're not letting it deter you, because it's such an important part of this business.
It is. And like part of like Erica would know, this is kind of an inside joke in the sisterhood, that I'm known as the PD queen. And it's probably because I've had to do like the most work as well. Like I was bullied as a kid. I have so much self-doubt and confidence issues and stuff. Yet what I've learned, one of the big things that I've learned, is that we get to create the narrative in our heads. Right. And so when you're watching those story viewers, or you see all those people that saw your post, but they didn't hit like or whatever, and we build up all of these stories in our head about what they're thinking and all of the nasty things, right? Because it's trying to keep us safe. You get to control that narrative. So rather than saying to yourself, oh, they're judging me. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Oh my gosh, what are they saying about me? Why don't you just flip the script and remind yourself, wow, I'm probably inspiring them. Or I hope that they went for a walk today because they saw me moving today. And I can't even tell you how many people that I thought were silently judging me have reached out and told me that I have inspired them so much. And sometimes they stay quiet because they don't know what to say because they're so lost in their own journey that you shining so bright maybe just heightens where they're at. And that makes them feel bad about themselves. Right. So I always lead with love. I always lead with love and kindness and compassion. And I think that's the greatest lesson that you can learn in this is to not take it personally and to not feel like you're selling and you're swindling people. Again, that the Julie Voris call from Monday night. Did anyone listen to that call Monday night? Okay, I'll drop the recording for you to listen to. Julie Voris has been a coach for like 13 years, 14 years. And she mentioned like, what a gift. What a gift we have. Look at yourself. And look at how your life has changed as a result of these programs. And then for some reason, when we become a coach, we suddenly feel like we're swindling people out of their hard-earned money and we're going to trick them and we're going to take all their money and run. When it's like, no, that's not true. We're giving them a gift. We're giving them back their life. We're giving them their energy and their vitality and their health and their wellness. We're giving them what we've received. So flip that script, flip that narrative. I really recommend that. And if you don't know where to begin with PD, I highly recommend having a real honest conversation with yourself about what you need to work on. Like Marianne, you said self-doubt right there. I would get into Google, best personal development books about self-doubt. Reach out to the coach chat. Hey guys, does anyone have a good book about confidence? Does anyone have a good book about self-sabotage or binge eating or anything, negative self-talk, things like that? And then start to lean in and read it. And then another tip too is ILT. And this is where you can provide value on your page. Invest, learn, teach. ILT. So invest your time in listening to a book or reading a book. Learn the concept and learn it for you. Don't read a book about fishing if that doesn't interest you or whatever, but do something for you, your own personal development. Invest your time, learn about it, and then teach it. Everyone is like, what do I share on my social? What do I share on my social? Oh, I'll share this quinoa salad recipe. Like, that'll be good value. And it's like, yeah, the recipe is a good idea too. But what if you reached out and taught someone a lesson that you learned from a book that you read? Right? Oh, yeah, you are a badass. Hands down. One of my favorite books, too. I agree. Like, read it, take a picture of an awesome scripture, or read it or share about it. Go speak on your stories. And, like, hey, I just heard this thing about fear. And this is what I learned about fear. And, like, that's how we're kind of changing and we're teaching people two things, right? Any other questions, guys? I'll just ramble till the cows come home. But
yeah, please feel free to make this like a Q&A format. I mean, type in the chat if you want, but no hesitation to take yourself off mute too if you want to ask any other questions, any wonderings.
Like inviting? Anything?
I have a question. So one of my biggest struggles is like I'm a very private person. Like I've always been a very private person, and like social media is not something that I used to really post anything on. Like I would love reading everybody else's stories and following what they were doing, but posting about myself is not something that I'm used to doing. I'm okay with all of the workouts. Like every day I post my workout and, good morning, energize and all of that. But I really struggle with like what to post throughout the day about my life, because I'm at home with an 8-month-old baby and like I'm changing diapers. I'm not doing anything super interesting. And I know that like other moms would relate to that, but I just feel really silly when I'm like taking a picture of something mundane and I'm like, well, what do I say about this? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't come naturally to me to talk about my life because I'm like the biggest introvert and I'm just so not used to doing it. So I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, I'll jump in, and Jen, you can add anything to it. Like, preach. First of all, like, I totally get it, because I mean, go watch my stories. I still find, like, I'm like, my kid got her ears pierced today. Like, I'm getting engagement on it. Like, I totally agree. What we think is so mundane to us is exactly that. It's the relatable that there's some other mom out there being like, well, frig, I'm changing a diaper too, and she made time to work out this morning. I can do it too. Like, I totally agree. But unfortunately, the mundane stuff is what makes it relatable, because they do see that, yeah, you make time to work out, but you're also just a mom struggling with piles of laundry and dirty diapers and your house upside down. And like, I totally agree. It's like that. It's hard to, okay, so you're going to take a picture of the diaper, and what are you going to say? Like, I know we've all been there. And honestly, this is a learn as you do business, that like, all of us, our first social media posts felt awkward and uncomfortable, and you didn't know what to write about it. And just the more you get comfortable, the more your viewers will expect to see that too. It's like they're going to slowly see you branch out of the totally private account to the girl who shares her workouts, but maybe also shares what her family's eating for dinner, and that you're out for a beautiful walk with your baby in the stroller, and that's how you're spending your lunch hour, or whatever it is just slowly adding to it. But we've all been there. Jen, I don't know if you have any more solid advice besides.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree, Sophie. And I remember Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, making a comment once about how we think that, you know, our consistency of sharing, like I started sharing when I first started coaching, every single day in my stories, I would share a picture of my yogurt and berries. And for the last, like, Erica's like, I don't think a single day has gone by in 4 years that there hasn't been a picture of my yogurt and my GD berries. But Carl made a really good point. The reason why I've stuck with that is because he says over time, like what Erica said, with consistency, that starts to build that trust. So it looks boring and it seems like boring. And I remember a new coach saying to me, like, yeah, but why do other people care? Well, I don't know why they care, but they're watching your stories. So give them something. If they want to watch what you do at home on mat leave, then give it to them and show them what you're eating each day, and show them yeah, like Erica said, like the mundane, because that is relatable. But over time, it's going to show consistency, and I think that's the magic sauce there.
Yeah, I think it's more like what to say with it. You know what I mean? Like I post a picture of whatever, like what I'm eating, but then I'm like, I'm really bad at, like, what do I say about it? You know, like here's my snack. I don't know. To me, that feels kind of silly to do, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, totally. I totally get, like, I was, as like Jen was talking, like, what could Sophie say about changing her kid's diaper? Literally a poll. Are you Huggies or Pampers family? Like, as silly as this sounds, I know.
Right.
It's going to get you other moms engaging, whether they're like, it'll come with time. And like, even like your snack, there's nothing wrong with saying morning snack and listing the ingredient. Like go look at mine today. I did a recover pudding. I put a link in to the Costco grain-free granola. So if people are curious what I'm eating, they can go, you know, like over time you just, and that is a point where it would be good to watch other coaches' stories. Like I said, this journey is about you, but also when you're first starting to come up with those ideas and stuff, some engagement polls, or even the dirty diaper, like anyone else with one of those swiper things, and you know, all the moms are going to be drowning in diaper life too, like just those sort of things. Meg, I don't know if you want to like talk about your laundry for a second. But like,
yeah, I was actually just going to bring that up. So one thing I actually heard at Summit a few months ago that really resonated with me is so often we don't say something or we don't talk about something because we assume it's common knowledge. Just a sec, buddy. We assume it's common knowledge. So like some little hack that we think everybody does that nobody does. Like last night I did a story with a trick on how to put your duvet into the duvet cover easily. And like, I thought most people knew how to do that. And I had so many messages from people who had no idea. So things that you think are totally normal, you know, hacks that people will know aren't always the case. Another thing that's gotten me like amazing engagement is the laundry service I use. So I have my laundry done by a company. And like, I talk about it every week and people go insane and they ask me for information. And I feel like this company owes me some like kickbacks because their business has exploded. But anyways, so things that you think are totally mundane or things that you think everybody knows, often people don't. So just start talking about that and you'd be amazed at how many conversations that that can actually start. And on the mat leave topic, I'm just finishing up a year of mat leave. So I understand what you mean. I felt the exact same going into my mat leave. Like, what the hell am I going to talk about? There are going to be so many moms that are going to relate so much to everything that you're doing. Vent, use it as an opportunity to vent, to connect with other moms on how hard it can be, how stressful it can be, how lonely it can be. It's a great way to open up a lot of conversations. And I would actually say, like, really, really take advantage of this particular time in your life, because nothing makes people say, oh shit, if she can find the time, then I can find the time. Like, mix your energize holding your baby, and you would be amazed at the amount of people that will say, well, fuck, I had to work out today because if she can do it, I can do it. So like, leverage all of those things to really sort of show how you make it all work together.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anybody else? The floor is open.
What about inviting? Who has invited either some close friends or family or anyone to do this with them? Has anyone reached out? Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Any other questions about, like, yeah.
So my question is, I'm okay reaching out and connecting and like, building that like connection and asking how things are going and whatever. But then I don't know where to go from there, because sometimes they don't always ask me about like my journey or like what I'm doing. So it's like, how do I go from talking about our work and then going to being like, oh, by the way, like, I just don't know how to like make that transition.
That's a great question. I feel like a lot of people have that same question. For me, I really take it situation by situation. So if it's like a cousin, or if it's a friend of a friend, or someone that you haven't taken, like, really, there's no like copy paste answer to this, in my opinion. It's really just like finding a way to, sometimes you just kind of have to like quit the small talk and kind of cut to the chase, especially if you see that they've been watching your stories, or maybe they haven't, and you can even reach out to them. Sometimes I like to kind of play like the whole like ignorant is bliss card and be like, I don't know if you saw, but actually I'm a part of this amazing community, and we're doing these online workouts, and like, I just finished this program and it made me feel fantastic, and it got me thinking if it's something that you might want to try with me too. So you can even just kind of play like the little like, I don't know if you've seen what I'm doing kind of card, or you can just kind of come out with it. I think often it's even good to not necessarily like not have too much of the small talk, but really just kind of like cut to the chase, especially if they're watching your page and they're there. That's why having something to invite to is really important. Like, when you have a start date, when you know you're going to be starting on Monday or 2 Mondays from now, you have that date in your mind. That's when you reach out and you're like, hey, I don't know if you've seen what I've been doing recently, but I'm loving it. I feel fantastic. And I would love so much if you'd give this a shot with me and join this group with me. And yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents. Erica, do you have something?
No, I was actually just going to come, but then you got to it. And as I was going to say, yeah, at some point you just have to address the elephant in the room. I mean, if they're watching your stories, you know that they know that you know that friends line. Like, I know that you know that, like, eventually you just gotta like come out with like, and exactly Jen said, have something to invite to. So I'm going to be running a back to school boot camp because I'm going back to school. So my next, after the small chit chat, would say, hey, the second week in September, like, I'm running a back to school boot camp. Would you be interested in like trying any of these amazing fitness programs I'm doing with me? Like, just something nonchalant. You don't have to go into, I'm doing Beachbody and it comes with Shake Halt. Like, just make it a natural part of your conversation. If they haven't brought it up, then just just bring it up if, like I said, it's the elephant in the room anyways. Make those connections first, of course, like, right? Because that is what we are in. We're a business of connecting and community and building those relationships. And then if they haven't brought it up, then I totally agree with Jen to just bring it up yourself.
And
It's a hard, scary thing to do. I know.
Yeah, I was going to say on that point, like try to find out, like sometimes I kind of I don't prod, but sometimes I try to kind of like lead the conversation in a way that like they'll share with me maybe a bit of a pain point. Like if you know that they've got young kids or something, like how have things been with, I know you've got a 4-month-old right now, like, oh man, like has he hit that sleep regression? Like how are things going? And then when she comes back with you like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I have no energy these days and blah, blah, blah. And then that's when you're like, oh, well, I have an awesome way that I've got some energy. Or finding a way to maybe lead the conversation that way, like kind of figure out maybe like, where are they struggling? Where, because we know where this can help in so many different ways, right? Like, are they struggling financially? Are they struggling with energy? Do they not feel like they have enough time for themselves? Do they have weight that they want to lose? Or do they have like goals that they want to reach or whatever, and try to kind of get in that direction if that helps. Sorry, Marianne, I think I cut you off.
Oh, no, not at all. I just had a quick question. So when you start like a group, so Erica, you're going to start a little boot camp and you invite people. And so say someone says, yeah, I'd love to join you. Like, is this like a sample? Is this like kind of like a test drive, or how do you send them like a cart? Like how does that work?
Yeah. Good question. So generally once I've invited, then they're going to come back with their response. And then it's sort of a reciprocal conversation back and forth, right? So say they say, oh, well, tell me more about this back to school boot camp. Then I'm likely to say, are you doing any sort of fitness programs now as it is? Like, right? Like, I mean, they could be a gym member that hits the gym 7 days a week, and sure, they want to be a member of my back to school boot camp, but that might we might have different ideas of what that means. So generally just like a back and forth conversation. And then generally at some point they'll say, tell me more. So either send them, like I often rely on voice notes, just because then they can get a feel for me and, my enthusiasm behind it. Cause I am super enthusiastic about the idea of, a new boot camp and having this person join, or sometimes just messages back and forth. And then eventually, you eventually do get to the point where you explain, it's $162 for the year right now. And with that, you get the membership for the year, you get access to our private community, and just, you kind of get to the point where you go over what's included, but just sort of a reciprocal conversation back and forth about what to expect.
Thank you.
I'm going to answer Tanya's question really quick, because then we're going to wrap up here. But so you've got a group starting in September, you've posted on Facebook, and you've done a reel on IG. So how often do you continue to post? Without sounding like crazy, remember that's like one of your stories. So you're not going to sound crazy. If you opened up a bakery tomorrow, hopefully you'd be shouting it from the rooftops when that bakery opens, right? This is your business, and your page is to really showcase your business and what you're offering and what you're doing here. So I don't think that it's too much to share about it every single day leading up to it. But remember, like we said, it's not about just putting it out there. It's about what happens in the DMs. It's about the private messages that you're sending out. So they see that, they know that that's an offering that you're doing, which is great. So it's not coming out of the blue when you send them a message, but the power is really going to come in your private messages and your private invitations to the individuals, and telling them why you want them to be a part of this amazing group that you're starting in September. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap this up because we have an amazing client call at 8:00. Like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out to anyone, your upline, especially, or in the coach chat with any questions that you have. No stupid questions, nothing too simple, nothing that you should know. Please don't shy away from that. And also next week, so next Wednesday is your final step of your leadership training. It is a call at 7:00. So same time, and it is the importance of getting to Emerald, which is your first rank in the business. And we're also going to lead you through a power hour where we're going to walk you through how to work this business in your pockets of time. So it's a really, really, really valuable call. Please get on it. And yeah, we're really, really proud of you guys and so excited that you're here and you're almost done. And don't ever hesitate to reach out for any questions you may have. Okay, take care, guys.